free college football picks. This is action here for Saturday, December 31st. Tony T here with our college football pick show here for Saturday's action. We have all four games. Before getting to just a couple things, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Free college football picks throughout the bowl season. Of course, we load tons of free picks on our channel, so it's a good time to subscribe. And also, if you would support our channel, like this video, give us that thumbs up. We greatly appreciate it. Then visit Tony'sPicks.com. We are a multi-capper site showcasing top cappers in our industry. Click the links to the hot cappers and get signed up to some of our long-term passes. You'll see our top cappers here who've been on fire here, like Mindy, Ramon. You'll find our latest premium picks here on the center of the page. Of course, you can look for our best bets. Each capper can release one best bet per sport. You'll see many will be up here for Saturday. Also, our $15 premium pick. Each capper can designate one of their plays on their card as a $15 premium pick. Just introduce their service to new and existing customers. 3 packs offer great value. And if you prefer, you can also purchase our picks a la carte from our pick ticker with team versus team information. You can save 20% off all premium pick packages when you use that promo code TonyT at checkout. You can access our page by clicking the link you see there in the description. Click the All Cappers tab and get signed up. We always love to hear from you guys, so post your picks in the comments. We are looking for cappers so you can apply. And our podcast, we put every pick and every show in podcast form. Tony's Picks is the podcast available on all major platforms. All right, let's go ahead. Let's get this one started. Iowa versus Kentucky college football pick. This one here on Saturday. You know, Iowa concluded regular season at 7-5. They had their 4-game win streak snapped in a 24-17 home defeat to Nebraska, which cost the Hawkeyes a trip to the Big Ten title game. You know, Hawkeyes really struggled offensively this season, averaging just 255 yards a game. Defense sat fourth in the nation, surrendering 278 yards a contest, only 2.9 yards per rush. Iowa will be without a safety who opted out. Starting quarterback Spencer Petras is out with an injury. Their backup Alex Medina hit the transfer portal, so Joey Labasse will make his first start. He hasn't even thrown a pass in college football. Kentucky sits at 7-5 after a 26-13 home win to Louisville to break a 2-game losing streak. Wildcats had better offensive numbers here, 336 yards, but only 3.3 yards per rush. 2 playmakers opt out for Kentucky, and quarterback Will Levis and running back Chris Rodriguez. They will also be without a corner. Wildcats go with a 4-string starter at running back. Kaya Sharon saw limited action in his freshman year at quarterback, completing 58%, 6.4 yards per attempt. You know, against an SEC schedule, the Wildcats held teams at 320 yards with 6.4 yards per pass attempt. Wildcats did fire their offensive coordinator. That Iowa loss at home to Nebraska really leaves a bad taste here to back them in this spot, especially laying points. You know, remember, their quarterback is not throwing a pass, and at least Wildcats quarterback saw action this year. And of course, if we get into the overtime situation, you know that third overtime, the game will be decided by 2 points. The player will be on Kentucky plus the 2.5. Alabama versus Kansas State college football pick. This one here on Saturday. Alabama finished at 10-2. A road loss to LSU by 1 in overtime cost the Crimson Tide a shot in the playoffs. Their other loss came by 3 at Tennessee. Strong offensive numbers here behind 476 yards a game, 5.6 yards per rush. Defense held opponents to 311 yards per game. They have no bowl opt-outs, but their players hit the transfer portal will not play. Bryce Young will play and completed 64% of his passes with 8.4 yards per attempt. He threw for 27 touchdowns and 5 interceptions. Kansas State finished at 10-3 after their 31-28 win against TCU in the Big 12 title game. Wildcats offensively generated 420 yards with 5.1 yards per rush on the season. They did give up 365 yards a game. Quarterback Will Howard, on the season completed 61% with 8.7 yards per pass attempt, and he passed for 15 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. It's a fast track here in New Orleans, and the Crimson Tide in their past 3 SEC games allowed 27 points to Auburn, 24 to Ole Miss, 32 at LSU. You know, look at Alabama's offense over their past 3 games, averaging 38 points a game. The play here will be on Alabama and Kansas State to go over the total of 56. TCU versus Michigan college football pick here for Saturday in the playoff. TCU concluded play at 12-1 after their 31-28 loss to Kansas State in the Big 12 championship game. Their past 3 games, the Horned Frogs averaged 435 yards, but the defense allowed 421. Max Dugan will enter the NFL draft following this game. He is a senior, but had another year of eligibility. Duggan did not earn the starting job to enter the season. He has seen significant action in his 4 seasons at the school. That's probably why, because the team really did not have a lot of success. Remember, they fired their coach last year. In Big 12 action, Duggan a 62% completion rate with 8.6 yards per attempt. Michigan 13-0. They closed out the season with a 45-23 road win at rival Ohio State and blew out Purdue 43-22 in the Big Ten championship game. J.J. McCarthy in his Big 12 games had a 61% completion rate with 7.4 yards per attempt. Wolverines' run game passed 3, averaging 215 yards, 5.7 yards per attempt. Horned Frogs passed 3 games, allowing 199 rushing yards with 5.9 yards per attempt. Of course, the TCU run defensive form, massive concern. Remember, their TCU head coach, pretty much an offensive-minded coach. Remember, he was once a head coach at California and it was really lost his job because the defense did not perform. So really concerned here about a defensive game plan against for TCU here. The play will be on Michigan here at minus the 7.5. Ohio State versus Georgia, college football pick here for action on Saturday. Ohio State finished at 11-1 after that 45-23 home loss to Michigan. Buckeyes gave up 530 yards to that Wolverines in that game with 242 rushing. They have failed to cover 4 of 5. And remember, they gave up 402 yards to Maryland on the road in a failed cover as well. C.J. Stroud in Big Ten play completed 64% of his passes with 8.9 yards per attempt. He threw for 26 touchdowns, 6 picks. Georgia completed a 13-0 season after their 50-30 victory to LSU in the SEC title game. Bulldogs built a 35-10 halftime lead in that one. Georgia averaged 493 yards on the season, 39 points a game, facing an SEC schedule. Recent double-digit wins at Kentucky and Mississippi State. They had a 14-point home win in Tennessee, holding the Vols to 289 yards. Stetson Bennett in his past 9 games against the SEC completed 65% of his passes, 8.1 yards per attempt. In the win against LSU, Bennett a 79% completion rate, 9.4 yards per attempt. He passed for 274 yards and 4 touchdowns. Buckeyes, those big plays allowed to the Wolverines the concern. Past 3 games, Bulldogs running for 5.9 yards per rush. Buckeyes giving up 4.6 yards per rush in that span. Remember, with an offseason to prepare, the Bulldogs absolutely pounded Oregon. In their 2 playoff games last year, Georgia pounded Michigan 34-11 in the semis, and then in the championship game, they beat Alabama 33-18. Play here will be on Georgia at minus the 6. All right, that was our college football pick show here for Saturday. Make sure you subscribe to our channel. We have free picks every single day from all the major sports. Tons of free picks on our channel, so subscribe. And again, visit Tony'sPicks.com for our best bets and our premium picks here for Saturday's action. Use that promo code TonyT at checkout and you'll save 20% off. All right, we got a lot of action coming up. We'll have some college basketball, NBA coming on later for Saturday's action. I'm Tony T. Back a little later on with more free picks.